Hey y'all, welcome to my kitchen. It's been a while. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're doing a little bit of meal prep, and then I'm gonna share all the meals that I make all week. So this is gonna be pretty much a mini meal prep slash what's for dinner episode. Let's just jump into it. I'm wearing my husband's big extra large shirt. That is like one of my favorite things to do these days, is just steal shirts from him. They're so comfy, cozy, and I just wear them as pajamas, and then I just don't get out of them all day, y'all. Do y'all do that? All right, y'all, I'm getting ready to do a little bit of food prep for dinner tonight. We are gonna have enchiladas with our leftover barbecue as the stuffing, and I'm gonna make, I had a big bunch of cilantro and I've got some jalapenos, so I'm gonna pickle most of these, but I'm gonna make my cilantro jalapeno lime crema sauce. So what I do is I put a washed big handful of cilantro, and then I'm gonna cut up 2 jalapenos and put them in here. Then we add some sour cream, a little bit of mayonnaise, and some lime juice. I'll probably use 2 whole limes, and just blend it up, and then I go from there. I'm gonna add in cut up jalapenos, y'all. I'm gonna go in with about half of a cup of sour cream. Actually, this is 2/3 of a cup of sour cream. Gonna squeeze in some lime juice. I'm just gonna do 1 lime to start, but I'm guessing I might end up adding a second one, y'all. I've had some people ask me how I make this, so I'm trying to show you, but it really is different every time depending on how spicy the jalapenos are. Sometimes we have to tone it down, sometimes we tone it up. It just depends. And I'm gonna add about 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise. It just helps with the consistency. And then let's see where we end up. All right, Jack and I just tasted it, and we realized that it really needs salt. So we're gonna add salt and then mix it up again and taste it and see where we need to go from there. I keep putting this on backwards. All right, the salt was what it needed, but it's still a little liquidy, so I'm gonna add about 1/4 of a tablespoon, not a tablespoon, 1/4 of a cup of sour cream, maybe.
It's one hell of a tablespoon.
Yeah, I meant 1/4 a cup. I added about a tablespoon more mayonnaise. I'm just trying to thicken it up just a little bit, y'all. But I think the flavor's good. Alright, I usually put this in some kind of container and we keep it in the fridge. It works, I mean, it lasts for over a week if it doesn't go before then. But I'm just gonna run it through a funnel here, and then everybody can add it to different things during the week. It's that simple, y'all. Y'all, I'm meal prepping in my pajamas, so excuse me, but I just want to show you how much that made. It made 1 full bottle of this size, and then about half of a bottle of this one. So they'll go through this in a week. They're no problem at our house. Now I'm just gonna prep some mushrooms. I really don't have a plan for these, but I love mushrooms and I just felt like buying some, so I did spend a little of my money this month on mushrooms. But for cleaning mushrooms, you just wanna get a damp paper towel and wipe them down. Mushrooms will soak up whatever you put on them, so if you wash them in water, they're gonna taste so gross. They get waterlogged, and that's probably why you think you don't like mushrooms. If you think you don't like mushrooms, if you wash them in water usually, because that is just a recipe for really yucky, soggy mushrooms. So I'm just gonna slice these up and put them in a container. I don't know, I'll do something with them at some point. So I did the majority of the mushrooms in here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and saute them up. And then I did a handful. This is probably, I don't know, once it's chopped up, 1.5 cups or so, but I'm gonna use this in my meatloaf later in the week to spread it a little farther, and the mushrooms actually help it with moisture. That you don't really taste them because I dice them so tiny, but it definitely helps with retaining moisture in your meatloaf, and we're making meatloaf later in the week, so I'm gonna put these to the side, and that part of meal prep will be done. All right, I'm gonna make the pickling liquid for my jalapenos. The basic is just equal parts vinegar and water. I'm using this apple cider vinegar. So I'm gonna do a cup of this, a cup of water, and then however much sweetener you want. If you wanna make them just a little bit sweet, I usually just put a couple tablespoons of this Cilantro, and you just wanna warm it up. When it gets to really, really warm, then you're just gonna pour it over your jalapenos or whatever vegetable that you're pickling, and that's it. You can of course add all kind of pickling flavors if you want, but we're doing jalapenos and we're just gonna go basic. So this is just literally it. If you need more, if you have a lot more vegetables to pickle, you can just make more of this. But the Cilantro powdered sugar is great because see how fast that dissolved? Like it's gone. And you obviously can add, like I said, any kind of pickling spices that you would like. You could add like some mustard seed or any kind of pickling things that you would like, but we're just keeping it super basic. So now I'm just gonna chop up all my jalapenos, and I leave the seeds in. I just chop them and then we put them in the jar with that pickling liquid, and the longer they sit, the better they get. We just keep them in the refrigerator. All right, y'all, I just wanted to show you with this, you want to pack it as much as you can. So put those jalapenos in there and just push it down until you fill the entire jar, and then that's when we pour our pickling liquid over. Okay, so I'm using one of these largemouth mason jar things. It's like a largemouth funnel. I love these. And then I'm just gonna pour this hot pickling liquid and just go slowly. You want to get it in until it covers all of your jalapenos. There we go, and that was perfect. I used every last drop, y'all. So 2 cups of liquid covers this perfectly for this jar. This is just the, I don't even know what size mason jar this is. Is this a quart, Jason? I don't know. Isn't that pretty though? Now I'm just gonna prep some coleslaw. I'm literally just gonna dump this coleslaw into my bowl. This is that crema that we made earlier. We're gonna use part crema and part mayo. I'm almost out of this mayo, so we're just combining, and that's all we're gonna do for this coleslaw. I would normally add some red onion and some extra cilantro, but we're on no spend month. We're really working within our budget, which is very, very tiny, so I did not have extras, but this will give, this cilantro crema will give so much flavor to it that it won't really be missed. Added about 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise, and then however much of that crema I poured in, I just poured it in, and I'm gonna toss this up, and this will be perfect to go with enchiladas tonight for dinner. Got this all stirred up. I decided I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar just to cut the mayonnaise. I like to add a little bit of vinegar to my coleslaws. Probably just about a tablespoon. So I've got about 3 tablespoons of butter and some bacon fat. We're gonna let that get hot and melt down in here. And y'all, my stovetop is so disgusting. Oh, good gravy. All right, my stovetop is so disgusting. Ugh. But we're gonna cook up all of these mushrooms, and then I'll put them right back in this bowl, and I'll have them to eat on when I want them this week. This is nice and melty and warm. I'm just gonna add in all of these, toss them a little bit, and just let them cook until they are nice and browned and sauteed. I'm gonna let them get a nice brown color on them before I turn them down. Another trick with mushrooms is you don't want to add salt and pepper until they've gotten nice and brown already, because the salt will draw even more moisture out. So I leave them as is until they're nice and brown, and then I season them. Next little part of meal prep, Caroline loves frozen grapes, and there's so many. So I'm gonna put all of these grapes in here with a little bit of vinegar water, and then rinse them off really, really well and lay them out to freeze. All right, instead of vinegar water, I'm gonna do some lemon water. So we're just gonna rinse them with some nice lemon water, let them soak for a little bit, and then get rid of all that nasty water. Grapes can be really, really dirty. So I'm just gonna fill this up. This is like an OXO salad spinner. If any of y'all watch Jen Chapin, this is where I got the idea from. She washes all her produce in these, and I think that's such a great idea. So that's what we're doing. Did you eat the grape? You wanted it? No, you didn't. You are not a fruit girl. Every time I give you fruit, you don't eat it. You did not care for the grape, huh? All right. So while I did the grapes, this was just sitting here, and see how they really shrink down. They put off a lot of water already, so you don't want to salt them early and draw too much out, because that's not good either. So we're just gonna shake it a couple times and just let it keep going, and then at the very end, I'll hit it with some salt and pepper. So tonight for dinner, we are gonna make enchiladas, because this is what's left after eating for 3 days on pulled pork. Yesterday I made barbecue nachos for them. Today I'm gonna turn it into enchiladas. It's just shredded pork that Jason did on the smoker, but there's so much of it. So I also had these in the freezer. These are the Mama Lupe's low carb tortillas. So we're just gonna heat these up. I'm gonna wrap these in paper towels and heat them up in the microwave so that they just wrap a little bit better. But this Mama Lupe's, I ordered them online, y'all, but they're my favorite low carb tortillas. Like, do you see how nice those are? They're so nice. Like, I don't even think I'm gonna need to microwave them. They're ready to go. Let's set up our stations and get to making enchiladas. All right, so what I do is I just go through with my knife and chop this into bite-sized pieces. It's pulled pork, but you don't want like big pieces of pork in your enchilada. You wanna be able to just like have bite sizes. So I just go through it and chop it into small bits. And then we're just gonna throw it in this bowl, have one thing of cream cheese, and then we're also gonna throw in 2 small cans of green chilies. There we go. Added about 1.5 cups of shredded Mexican cheese. Any kind of shredded cheese is fine. Monterey Jack would be really great here, but this is what we had. And then I'm gonna add some taco seasoning and some oregano and some salt and some pepper. Okay, so to this bowl, we've got a bunch of the shredded beef, 1 whole thing of cream cheese, 2 small cans of green onions, about 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, 2 tablespoons of oregano, and a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. I usually would use a Smoky Southwest by Fresh Jack's, but I am out of that, so we went with taco and oregano. We're gonna get this mixed up really well, and this will be our filling. All right, y'all, I forgot a very important part, chipotle peppers. I love to buy this brand because they're already diced. You don't have to add chipotle peppers, but I think it makes it. Like, I love the flavor. So I'm just gonna use the rest of this jar and then get that mixed and put that as part of the filling. I think it makes a huge difference when you use the chipotle peppers. So we'll just get that stirred in and then go from there. All right, at this point, I'm using up what I have, and I have some green enchilada sauce canned. So this is what we're gonna use. I pour it in a pie plate, and then I set up my assembly line. First is this, with the tortillas right behind it. And then this is the pan that we're gonna pile it into. I do also put a little bit of the enchilada sauce in the bottom of my pan. Let's see. And just kind of smear that around. This is going to be the bottom layer. And right now I'm also going to turn on my oven just to 350. Bake, start, or not, bake, start. There we go. Let that be heating up. And now what I do, I'm gonna need both hands, y'all, but I'll show you how I start. Okay, so what I do is I dip my tortilla into my enchilada sauce really well. Then I put it in my pan here. Then I'm gonna take some filling and put that down the middle, and then I am going to roll my enchilada up as tightly as it can, and we're gonna push him to the corner, and then we're just gonna keep doing that all the way across. It's that simple. I just keep rolling and rolling and packing and get as many in there as I can. I mean, I got a bunch of them in there. These freeze really well as well. If you want to freeze it, I would say stop here, cover them with enchilada sauce and wrap it up really well, and then put cheese on top before you bake it. But we're going to bake it tonight, so I'm going to put cheese on top now. And then at this point, it's ready to go into the oven. I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes, and it will be ready to eat. This is a great meal for leftovers. Leftover rotisserie chicken, leftover pot roast, chuck beef, ground beef, any kind of pork. You can use any kind of base of meat and mix it up the same way that we did in this bowl. I used every last bit, and this makes a really good, easy leftovers meal. And today it was a great clean out the pantry meal. I just pulled these grapes out and rinsed them really well again under running water, but look how gross that water is that the grapes were in. Definitely wash them. I put the grapes on here and dried them with a towel really well, and I'm just gonna put them in the freezer like this. I should probably put them on 2 pans, but I'm not going to. And then we'll put them into a Ziploc bag, and she can pick them out and eat them from frozen. She loves to eat frozen. I'm just gonna go ahead and make some rice. It's 1 to 1, so 1 part rice to 1 part water. And then I put in either butter or avocado oil and a handful of salt. I'm also gonna squeeze some lime into it because it's going to go with the enchiladas tonight. But I just do this, and I do it on the rice setting. It doesn't matter how much I do. If I do 1 cup or if I do 5 cups, it still works. I absolutely love it. All right, here are our enchiladas out of the oven. They almost boiled over, y'all. I would have been so mad if they boiled over in my clean oven. And then here is the rice. I feel like rice comes out so well in the Instant Pot, and it takes like 0 effort. Y'all, as I show you what we're eating this week, I'm gonna be showing you what I'm making for my family, and I'll kind of show you what I eat versus what they eat. Like, I'm not gonna be having the rice and some of the other things I may make for them, but we are cleaning out the fridge, pantry, and freezer, right? And we're trying to use everything up. So rice is a really easy, cheap side. So they're probably gonna be seeing a lot of that, but I'm not eating it. So just because I'm making it doesn't mean I'm the one eating it, right? I'll try and point out, like, show you my plate on things and stuff like that. Here is Jason's plate. We've got some white rice, we've got some enchiladas, and we have some coleslaw with a lime to squeeze over it. Yum. I told y'all I was gonna show you my plate, and then I ate like 4 bites before I showed you, but I have 1 enchilada, and there's some lime juice on there, and then I used this cilantro lime crema and put that over the top, and that is my portion. I'm not gonna have any of the coleslaw just because it's a little too much jalapeno for me, but just this tiny little bit of it is totally doable for me. So this is what I am having for dinner tonight. All right, for dinner this night, we are going to do tiki masala in the slow cooker with chicken, and then I just add 1 packet of this tiki masala mix, which is I get on Thrive Market, and then this is Thrive as well, coconut. I usually do coconut milk. This is coconut cream. It'll be fine. I had something different planned for dinner this night, but it was something that was a request of my son's girlfriend, and she's not able to be here, so we're just gonna throw this in the crock pot, and I'll just serve it over rice or cauliflower rice, and it's super, super easy. Just gonna do it on high because it's already like 3 o'clock, and Jason's gonna throw it all together for me. All right, y'all, this was on high for about 2 hours. Now I'm gonna add a cup of rice and put it back on for probably another half an hour or so. Probably could do 2 cups of rice. I'm gonna do 1.5 cups. And then instead of the rice, you could totally have just put cauli rice in here, but I'm making this for my family, so I went ahead and just did regular rice. All right, y'all, at this one about another half an hour, maybe 45 minutes on high, and it is done. It smells so good. I love this tiki masala, and the chicken is just shredding up. I'm just gonna go through here and shred it, shred it, shred it. Then we can serve it with a salad on the side or some roasted broccoli or something like that. But this is just a really, really easy, yummy crock pot meal. And like I said, you can totally do this with cauliflower rice instead. If you do, it'll just be a little soupier, but it's still delicious. I've done it that way many times. We were out shopping and busy today, so this was a super, super easy dinner. Literally, Jason just grilled some hamburgers that were in the freezer that I had previously made. We did some hot dogs that we had previously made, and we're just gonna have random sides. There was 0 thought put to this dinner, but it's gonna be tasty. So it is just a cheeseburger with some mushrooms that had been sauteed. Then I'm gonna do a tablespoon of this mayonnaise and just a little bit of yellow mustard. All right, for dinner tonight, I'm gonna start by making a meatloaf. This is all of the ingredients that I'm gonna need. I'm going with an Italian meatloaf. Actually, I need to get out some sugar-free ketchup, but I'm going with an Italian meatloaf, so I'm using 2 packs of meatloaf mix, which is a combination of pork, veal, and beef, and then I'm gonna use 1 pound of pork sausage. I'm also going to add some onion and some mushroom. This is finely diced up mushroom, some pesto, and some garlic. I always use my keto crumbs, and then I'm gonna wrap it in bacon, but I also usually add some kind of a liquid, and I'm probably gonna use sugar. You can either use sugar-free ketchup or tomato sauce, just whichever you would prefer. All right, so I've got some onion and some mushroom that I am going to just cook on here until it's translucent. I've just got it in some avocado oil. You could use any kind of fat that you want. Probably would have used bacon fat if I'd thought about it, but I didn't. But we're just gonna let this kind of cook on a medium until everything is kind of soft and translucent, and then this will go into the meatloaf mix. The mushroom and onion help it retain moisture, and it also gives it a little bit of healthy veg, right? So far in here, I've got 1 cup of my keto crumbs. This is in my cookbook. I have meatloaf preparations in my cookbook as well, y'all. I will always link that down below. Then I've got 1 cup of tomato sauce. I was gonna use ketchup, but I didn't have enough. So 1 cup of tomato sauce, tablespoon of garlic. This is about 1/4 of a cup of pesto. I just used what I had left in this jar. I do not always add pesto, but I had this jar, so I went ahead and added it. And then down there that you can't see really is 1 egg. I am going to add in our veggies now. These are just nice and soft and translucent. I'm just gonna let them cool off for a minute, and then I am going to add it over here. When you're mixing up your meatloaf, you want to get everything thoroughly combined, but you do not want to overmix. If you overmix, it becomes like tough, which you do not want. Now, you also could stuff this with things. You could stuff it with all kinds of things. I often stuff meatloafs with cheese or veggies or lots of different things, but we're just going like a generic plain Italian style meatloaf today, and I'm contemplating wrapping it in bacon, but I don't know, we shall see. So I just mixed this using the spoon until I got it. You can use your hands, you can use your spoon, whatever, until I got it where I wanted it. And if you get it mostly mixed and it seems too dry, you can add a little bit more of your tomato sauce. If it seems too wet, you can add some more keto crumbs in place of breadcrumbs. Like in a general meatloaf, you would do breadcrumbs, but I add my keto crumbs. And what this is pork rinds crushed up, some Parmesan cheese crushed up, and some nutritional yeast. If you're needing to stay completely dairy-free, you could skip the Parmesan and just do nutritional yeast and pork rinds, but mine seems to be a perfect consistency. And then at this point, you could make mini meatloaves in like little muffin liners, or you can make 1 big meatloaf, whatever you would like. This freezes super well, so if you make it in a lot of mini meatloaf size, you could cook it and freeze it, or you can freeze them frozen, which is what I tend to do, and then cook them when you want to cook them. So these cook up in the air fryer or the oven. I'm just going to do 1 big meatloaf today, I think, but because we're going to be having it for dinner, but I do often make it in this either individual sized meatloafs or mini meatloafs. So I don't use a meatloaf pan. I just put mine out onto a parchment lined baking sheet. This is just how I tend to do it when I make 1 large meatloaf. So I'm just going to dump this right in the middle, and then I'm going to form my meatloaf. Okay, so this is huge. This is a lot of meatloaf. You could totally make 2 of these and freeze 1, or, you know, all the different ways I said. I'm not gonna wrap it in bacon, and I have a little helper right here who thinks I'm gonna share, huh? No, ma'am. What I'm gonna do is take some of this Primal Kitchen organic unsweetened ketchup and just spread it all over the top, and then I'm gonna bake it in a 375-degree oven. You could probably go up to 400 even, for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how thick it is. I like to have a lot of like outside crust to my meatloaf, so I kind of spread it out, but you could make it much thicker if you wanted to as well, or you could make it in a meatloaf pan, but I like to have like the crusty, yummy exterior. That's like the end piece is like my favorite, so this way I can get as much of that as I want. And also, I did not add any extra seasoning to this because the pesto and the tomato sauce were both very, very seasoned. And then I also added garlic, mushroom, and onion, so I did not add any extra like salt or seasonings to this. But you totally, if you don't do the pesto, you absolutely would want to add like Italian seasoning and some things like that. And I'm almost out of this ketchup, y'all. I am going to work hard to get every last little bit of this ketchup out. Then I'm going to smear it all over the top of this. I'll be back. Let me go work on getting all this out. I'm just going to smear this all over the top, y'all. Again, you could use the tomato sauce for this instead of the ketchup. Sometimes I'll even use tomato paste and then sweeten it myself. A little bit of tomato paste with a little bit of water and add some Lexington sweetener or something. But I like a little bit of a ketchup-y exterior, like the little bit of the sweet exterior to my meatloaf. But if you don't like the ketchup exterior, you could totally leave it off, or you could just paint a little bit of regular tomato sauce. I am going to make the side to go with our meatloaf. I've got about 3 tablespoons of butter in there. Then I have 2 rice, garlic, and herb cauliflowers from Aldi. These, the only thing they have in it is literally the garlic and herbs and the cauliflower. There's no like weird funny ingredients, so I really like to get these. Then I'm gonna put in about 1/4 of a cup of this daisy sour cream. We're gonna put it in this blender and blend it all up and make like a mashed cauliflower. A good little bit of Himalayan salt and some pepper, and we are just gonna let this go. So I just I just spin this around till it's really like fluffy and super mashed up. It makes it have like the consistency of mashed potatoes, and my family really likes it this way. You could leave out the sour cream and just do butter and a little heavy whipping cream if you wanted, but I just felt like doing like the sour cream and onion type flavor combination. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna chop up some green onions to put over it. I also wanted to mention, y'all, green onions regrow so well. I cut the tops off and then I put them back in here. Within a couple days, they grow this high. Like, you can just reuse green onions. I just leave them in a little bit of water and put fresh water every I don't know, 3 or 4 days. And then I think this is about done in here. I put it on broil for a couple minutes just to get the top nice and good. So I think we're good there. And I'm just gonna chop up a few green onions to put in with the sour cream to make like a sour cream and onion type cauliflower mash. So here is our sour cream and onion mashed cauliflower. And here is our meatloaf. Y'all, I don't know if everybody loves meatloaf as much as I do, but I make meatloaf so many different ways, and it's always so good. I'm so hungry, but I'm gonna let this sit for about 10 minutes and then I will plate it up. All right, y'all, I couldn't wait. I didn't wait 10 minutes. I waited like 5, maybe. There is my meatloaf. End piece is my favorite. So I got the end piece and some mashed cauliflower, and I am ready to dig in. Oh my goodness. All right, for dinner tonight, we're gonna do some fish. This is barramundi. I've got 3 pieces that I'm thawing, and I am just going to do a combination of mayonnaise. This is avocado oil mayonnaise, and harissa. This is harissa from Trader Joe's. It's really tasty. It does have some sunflower oil in it, so that is technically not an anti-inflammatory oil, but I'm trying to not only eat cleanly, but I'm also trying to use up what we have, and this was open in the fridge and I don't want to waste it. So we're going to mix the mayonnaise and the harissa together. I'm going to paint that on to my fish, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to bake it or if I'm going to air fry it. I think I'm probably going to put it in the air fryer. Okay, so here's our fish. Here's the mixture of the harissa and the mayonnaise. The harissa is pretty spicy. I don't do super well with pretty spicy, so I try to cut it with the mayonnaise. It'll also give some more fat to this dish. So what I'm gonna do is just spread that on both sides of the fish. And then we're just gonna put it in the air fryer just like that. I think that'll be tasty. I'm trying to decide if I wanna put some keto crumbs on the outside of it to give it kind of like a crumb outside or not. A little bit more. And then what's left of this will just be dip to go on top after. I don't know, I've never made it this way. Usually when I do the mayonnaise, I put the breadcrumbs on it and I bake it. But I was thinking we would try it in the air fryer. I don't know. What do you think, Jason? Should I put the keto crumbs on it?
Nah, just do it like that.
Just do it like this? Alright. We'll just do it like this and see what happens. Okay, y'all. This air fryer doesn't have a fish setting, so I'm just gonna do probably 7 minutes and then check it. But literally all you're gonna do is, this is a non-stick, so we're just gonna take our fish and set it in here. I think we should be able to get all 3 of these pieces in here. And yeah, there we go. Get those in there. Then we're just gonna start this 380 degrees and we'll check it at 7 minutes. I'm thinking it'll be done. This is a relatively thin fish, but if not, we can always go a little bit longer. And then we just have this as a dipping sauce at the end. Alright, so here's the fish. I ended up doing it an extra 2 minutes, so that was 9 minutes total. Is that right?
3 extra minutes.
3 extra minutes. So this was 10 minutes total at 380 degrees. It looks perfect. On the plate here, we've got some Thai flavored coleslaw. We've got some sour cream and onion cauli mash that's left over from last night. And now I'm gonna add a piece of fish. Oh, that came out perfectly. See, that does not stick at all. I love our air fryer. Just the non-stick surface. One tip though is you never wanna spray this non-stick surface with like the spray oils because it can degrade the non-stick surface. I read that and I saw somebody else mention it in a tip as well, so I never do that, but it just stays non-stick. So here is dinner tonight. Thai coleslaw, barramundi with harissa and mayo sauce, and the cauliflower, and then we've got more mayo sauce here for adding calories and adding more flavor. Jason, I'm sure, will drizzle that all over everything. Bon appetit to us. All right, Jason has finished his plate, so I thought I'd see what he thought of the harissa.
That was really good. The fish was perfect.
Was it good
Really
that way?
perfect.
I've never made it with the mayonnaise in the air fryer.
It was really good.
Was
Really
good?
well done, yeah.
Awesome. All right, y'all. If you're not a spicy person, that harissa is a no. It's too much for me. I cannot eat that. I'll probably have some of the mashed potatoes and the, not mashed potatoes, mashed cauliflower and some meatloaf. All right, y'all, thanks for hanging out with us. That was a What's for Dinner this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some ideas, and I will see you again next week for another What's for Dinner.